Welcome back, guys, to our no damage run of Adventure Island 2 for the NES. We are now on island number 6, which is Cloud Island. We'll start off with Magma here in this grassland type stage. You'd think with this being Cloud Island it would have more levels for Don Don the Pterodactyl. That's not the case, though. There's probably only like 1 or 2 levels in this whole island that you'll actually get some use out of Don Don the Pterodactyl. This could actually be one of those levels, but I don't want to skip the entire thing. I mean, I think it'd be boring for you guys to just watch me go along the top of the stage, so yeah, I'd rather go through it. Next up, I think, is an underwater stage. So obviously we'll be using Classy. And here we go. This is one of the more slower paced underwater levels in my opinion. Usually I like to speed through the underwater levels, but this one I try to take my time a little more because there are a ton of these little spike things, mines, whatever they are. Some of them are moving around, so you had to wait until you have an opportunity to slip by them. If you try to rush past any of them, you might get hit, so be careful about that. So yeah, the stage really isn't all that big, it's just mostly waiting for an opportunity to slip by all the enemies and obstacles in it. And there we go. Next up is one of the mountain type levels, where you have little enemies popping up out of water trying to hit you, stuff like that. One thing that I would have liked to have seen in this island here is like sort of a rain type effect, similar to Toadman's stage in Mega Man 4, like how it has the rain and then the wind pushes you back and everything. I think that could have worked for this island in a couple of stages. If they would have done that in every stage, I would have gotten really annoyed with it, but they didn't even try to add anything like that in. I guess they just didn't think about it. It's not a big deal, but that would have been kind of a neat idea to put into this island. This stage mostly has these things jumping out of the water. It has a couple of frogs and some of the birds flying around. Nothing too threatening, of course. Just take your time with the frogs and whatnot. The next stage will be one of the stages, one of the cloud theme stages. I really like the music in the cloud theme stages, but I'm not a real big fan of them. They're okay, though. They only really add one new enemy. But I do like the cloud levels, it's just I like other themed levels a little bit more. I really like the music that plays in these stages, and I like the scenery that you'll see. Like you can see the tops of mountains popping up through the clouds, stuff like that. I always thought that was pretty cool. They only really add one new enemy, and that's these weird looking clouds that just kind of move up and down. They really don't do anything special. They just look silly is all. But that's okay, they're easy enough to take out, so it's not a big deal. But I do like the cloud levels, it's just I think that the other themed levels were done just a little better. If they would have maybe added a couple more of these cloud levels, or maybe 1 or 2 new enemies in this theme set, then I would have probably liked it a little bit more. Headed to another mountain type area. I think we'll use Taylor for this stage. As to be expected with most mountain type areas, you got these water gaps with the enemies jumping out of them. You got birds and you got frogs as well. This stage has some various types of cloud platforms. Some of them move left and right, some of them move up and down, and some of them just sit still, but if you jump on them they'll fall out from underneath you after like a second. So yeah, it's kind of cool that they added the cloud platforms into this stage. That's kind of neat, I guess. There shouldn't be too much more left to this stage, though. Just be careful of the frogs, as usual, and all the other type of enemies. And there we go. Let's see what kind of egg we get this time. Probably 100 points. Yeah, I knew it. I figured that we'd just get 100 points. I'm good at getting 100 points. Now we're headed down to a cave. Why, Higgins? Why do you insist on coming here? I'll just go ahead and use magma for this cave. I'm thinking that multiple eggs have 100 points. Otherwise, I'm just getting really, I don't know what to say, lucky or unlucky. Normally, I'd say unlucky because the more points you get, the more lives you get. But lives don't matter to me in this run, so it doesn't really matter. I just seem to be good at getting the 100-point eggs. But yeah, I think that multiple eggs have 100 points. I could be wrong about that, though. I'm gonna guess that we're probably gonna have another 3 or 4 more stages before this island is over. Now we're headed to a little forest type area. We'll go ahead and use Taylor. We've been using magma. As with most forest type stages, of course, you're going to have your spiders and pigs and snails and other enemy types like that. None of them are all that hard. Be careful if there are any frogs. You'll probably see some snakes. Just the easier enemies like that. Nothing too threatening, just be careful. Use the springs around the stage to get you food if you need it. We're just about to the end of the stage, so I'm not too worried about collecting any more fruit or food or anything. And get us an egg. Well, I guess 200 points is a step up from 100. Not that much of a step up, though. Now we're in another cave. At least we're making progress towards the boss, so that's good. It's one of those caves that you have to climb up. As you climb up these segments that look like stairs, you expect to see some boulders rolling down them. If you're using Taylor or Magma, you can take out the boulders, though, so they're not much of a threat. Careful not to fall down, because that can suck really bad. You can end up falling on top of an enemy that you don't know is there. So just be careful with your jumps as you make your way up. And here we are, end of the stage. Probably 1 or 2 more levels before the boss. Actually, the boss level might be next. We'll find out. Yeah, it is. We'll go ahead and use Don Don the Pterodactyl for this stage. We haven't used him at all in this island yet. Pretty much this is kind of a vertical-oriented stage, much like the cave that we just got out of, except for it's cloud-themed and whatnot. Careful as you climb up for the cloud creatures that you'll see coming in, the weird, silly clouds. Collect food as you go up, obviously. The boss of this island is a giant bird, but really it's not all that hard. I still think the hardest boss up to this point in the game was the boss of Ice Island. What this boss will do is you'll hop off your animal buddy if you brought one, and then you'll go over to a set of platforms over here to the right. Once you go all the way over to the right, the battle will begin. The cloud platforms will start scrolling downwards, and you'll have to keep jumping up while avoiding fireballs and whatnot. Really, it's not all that hard. Kinda wish that Don Don could do a little more to help, but it's not like I really need his help, but still I kinda feel bad for him that he never really gets to do much in boss fights. That's okay though. As you can see, this boss really isn't all that bad. Just make sure that you keep yourself caught up with the platforms and dodge the fireballs. And well, that is it for part 6.